Hi everyone, welcome back to our third episode of Couple of Conversations. If you haven't done so already, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can also follow us on Instagram at couple.of.conversations. So today we're going to talk about long distance relationships and ways that you can make it work. So some of you know our story, maybe some of you don't. Before we got married, Tamara and I, for a brief period, were in a long distance relationship. I was in India and Tamara was in the Netherlands. We met in India, but then at the time we met, very soon she had to go back to the Netherlands.
Exactly, because I think I met you at the last part of my trip in India.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So I think
Luckily.
we only got like kind of 4 days or so in Mumbai.
Yeah, one
One
evening in
in
Goa
Goa.
during
Yeah.
New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So luckily our paths crossed. You never know. I mean, you couldn't be in the same place and never interact with someone, but luckily we did, and there was a spark, a connection, and we stayed in touch. But then there was the long distance question. How is it going to work?
Yes.
Because in 4 days, 5 days, whatever, after we met, Tamara was heading back.
Yeah.
So now the question was, and of course, luckily for us, we had quite a good connection in those couple of days that we actually wanted to stay in touch further.
Yeah,
But
because that was kind of the question. Like, okay,
Yeah.
is this just gonna be like kind of like a holiday fling, or
Yeah.
is this really like something that we might
Wanna-
need to explore further?
Yeah, see where it goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we really wanted to see if this can work. And of course, as some of you that may be already in a long distance relationship will know, it takes some effort and work. Of course, it depends on you how much effort and work it takes, or how simple you can make it or keep it. So, yeah, how was the experience for you with our brief period of courtship, we can say, with the long distance thing? What was going through your mind when you were going, like you had to board a flight and go?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was just like thinking, like, why? You
that's a good thing.
finally meet a guy
Yeah,
where the connection is so strong with, and then he lives in India,
yeah.
like all the way there. Like, why?
And
why?
you live in the Netherlands.
And I
yeah.
live in the Netherlands. Yeah,
True.
yeah. But I really thought, like, okay, let's see once I head back, once I'm back, how it will go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very warm
it's
here
a little
in-
warm there, as you can say. We're actually on a family holiday
In India.
in India,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is a little warm, even though it's monsoon season. But when it's not raining, it's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. How did it start it off actually? Like, because like once I was back in the Netherlands.
I think at that point now, luckily, we live in a time where technology can make things really
Exactly.
easier. We don't really have to,
Yeah.
the lead time is shorter, where you don't have to wait until your handwritten letter reaches the
Comes.
Netherlands and you wait for a response again till it comes back to you. So now in the age of social media, we are more fortunate that if you make use of it, things can work out much easier with long distance, with people from, if you meet someone, whether it's from living in a different city, a different country, different part of the world, whatever, as long as you have internet, you have social media, you can find ways to keep in touch. So I think at that point, we were actually did we use Skype? I think at that point, or
I think it's
WhatsApp
WhatsApp
also.
only. Yeah.
Yeah. So
First, it started kind of like with texting a little bit, like, "Hey, how are you? Have you
Yeah.
arrived?" Like these kind of things. I think.
yeah.
And then I think actually, like very quickly, we went to the video
Calls.
Yeah.
And so, so of
exactly.
course, I mean, once you have that, if you need comfort, if you've just been interacting briefly and it's long distance, video calls would be great. I mean, you want to see the person. They're not next to you, but at least you can see their face, have a good interaction.
Yeah.
And
Really get to know the person better.
Yeah,
with video
exactly.
Because you really see their ways of responding.
Yeah. And whenever convenient, because you also have to see, like, depending on where the person lives, now both of you might have different schedules, what the nature of both of your work is, what time somebody goes to work, what time someone comes back. And in our case, and in many other people's case, you are in a different time zone, maybe. That adds to further complications. The more different or opposite your time zones are.
The more
So
challenging
the
it
more
is.
challenging it
Yeah.
is. Like for
Yeah.
us, it was still like three
It
and a
was
half
okay.
hours to 4.5 hours.
In the summertime, it was 3.5. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
wintertime, 4.5. Yeah.
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 So I can just imagine if you were in the US, it would be more.
Oh,
It
yes.
would be tougher for me or you, depending on who does the night part,
Yes.
because it's the exact opposite for the other person.
Yeah, yeah. So for us, it was kind of still manageable to
Yeah.
manage the timings.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes for you it got a little bit late because sometimes I
Yeah.
needed to work until like 6 or so,
Yeah,
and then it was
yeah.
already like 10:30 over there. So yeah, sometimes many times it got late for you.
So I think that's where like the understanding part comes into play. Like it's new, of course. Both of you are still figuring out each other. That's what we were also doing. But I mean, sometimes I have to understand like she's away. Maybe she's not available for the call on a particular day. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I have little time because I have something early in the morning. I cannot stay up late.
Yeah, and I think it happens sometimes that like for some time, for a week or so, we couldn't really like speak on the video call, but then at least like we would text each other or like send a photo from what you were doing, or like in another way that we like kind of connected.
You find ways to keep in touch and also keep the other person updated. So they're still involved in your life. They may not be present there, but still, like you let them know what's going on with you. You know what's going on with them. So you kind of have that also helps then with your conversations. Otherwise, you just don't know what's going on with each other. Exactly. Imagine then we just suddenly come on the call and then every night then you're just like, okay, what do we talk now? I mean, maybe you still can. Yeah. But it just helps to make it easier. Like the flow just goes easier. You start off from somewhere. Oh, what did you do today? Or like you mentioned something that happened today. You start off on some topic, and that's how you actually maybe get to know more about like the other person's like thought process, like how that person reacts or looks at certain situations or their perspectives in life, thought processes. So you just gotta learn about each other, through your communication and interaction via social media, text, call, share pictures, whatever you guys are doing.
And I think that is very like that was directly like very strong with us. I think that we really made sure that we were involved in each other's life directly. Like that we really made the effort to really feel that we are involved in each other's life, because like I think like very like in a long distance relationship you very easily can like lose that involvement, I think. Because it like can very quickly get superficial, I think. If you don't really like keep on sharing like okay what you are doing. So it takes some effort to like constantly like keep that ball rolling, kind of.
No, definitely it takes more effort, and because you're not, because ideally in a relationship you want to be physically present with each other, not just having a virtual relationship. So that's where the effort part comes in, because sometimes you want, of course more than sometimes, hopefully you want them to be with you present, and then they're not there, and you just it's good to keep in touch via social media, but of course you want like the human touch. You want to be next to each other and share things together physically, spend time together, this kind of thing. So that's a good point. Like you have to find creative ways in which like you can keep the spark going and not let the relationship fizzle out, where you just slowly start drifting apart because of whatever the constraints are, be it like the time zones, schedules, or just the lack of being physically in close proximity, this kind of thing. So so I think a lot of communication is important, which anyways in a relationship is, but
of course, and that's also actually everything that's for in a relationship, no matter what, like but it comes a little bit extra in like a long
when
distance,
you have the long
a little
distance.
bit extra effort, like because it's also about, it's not about communication only, it's also really about like being open to adjust, like adjust the timings, but adjust also like suddenly maybe move some of your social activities, or to make that time free for each other to really keep keep interacting with each other.
But I think also that's a good point, and also I think what we need to add to that is you have to also strike a balance between your existing life and the relationship. So just because it's a long distance relationship, it doesn't mean you just cut out the rest of your social life because you have to spend more time with your partner. You want to also make sure you have that balance where you're also keeping in touch with your friends and whatever your family, this kind of thing. Like, you have to make sure that you are making time for your partner, but it doesn't, just like any relationship, same thing with the long distance. You don't have to make it in such a way that your partner becomes your whole life. It's an important part of your life. That's why you want to be in the relationship. But it shouldn't consume your entire whatever free time you have. You should also have time to pursue, whatever your hobbies, your dreams, creative pursuits, your other social life, meet friends, and these kind of things. Strike a good balance, and that again involves, I think, communication with your partner. Like, you just have to let them know, like, hey, maybe this day.
Very open and vulnerable, and like, I think about it also about your worries, because also when you are so far from each other, sometimes like worries can arise. Like, what is that person actually doing? Like, you never know. Like, like, are you the one and only, or like, you need to have like a lot of faith in each other also in that way. And I think also if you keep the efforts of like checking in with each other.
Just
constantly
be honest, share everything openly. Who are your friends, who you're going out with. Like, some people, I know this,
and your
when
doubts
you
also, like,
even if
everything.
That's also a part of it. If it comes up, like, you are feeling insecure about something, talk about it. You don't have to get aggressive about it or start the blame game without knowing everything. But like, if there is something, just talk about it. That's part of the evolution of the relationship. Like, you have to let the person know what's going on in your mind. The other person can respond back. That's how you actually build trust, is by addressing the issues rather than like sweeping them under the carpet to avoid any kind of conflict. So I think minor conflicts can be a part. We had, fortunately, I think minimal to zero maybe. But I think it's not always the case for everyone, and it's not a problem unless you want it to be a problem. So right, like, I think it's,
if you are mature enough, you just
have a discussion about it, have a talk,
with each other. Exactly.
Address it, and that's how you'll actually build a foundation, because the other person is honest with you about like what he or she is doing, where you go, who your friends are, and
and this is actually something, again, like, that's in any relationship, but what makes it like in a long term over in a long distance relationship, like how, like, for me, what really helped was to know, even though if it was very far away, but to know like when you would actually like see each other in person again.
Also
because that was really like, if you don't know, then like the insecurity about that.
That's true.
That's really
it's always good to like just let the other person know your schedule. Like, hey, listen, maybe this night I'm actually going out with some friends, so maybe
No, but I don't mean like with a video call. I really mean in person. So like when
that too.
Like,
that
again,
too.
like travel to each other again. Like even though if you know, like maybe it's like 6 months or like even a year or so. Like, we were fortunate that we could make it to see each other every like 3 to 6 months at least.
Correct.
We could make like a trip towards each other, but like but at least that like, okay, so many months more, then we are actually gonna see each other in real life again,
it's always good to have that. Like, you might be in a long distance, but like, try to make sure that you can come together wherever, either in each other's places or somewhere halfway if that's more convenient. But like, at least meet somewhere in whatever your frequency can be, a couple of months, 6 months, but have it clear that we can, whenever it can be clear, that we can meet at so and so time, because that also is essential. You're not just investing your time in this.
You want to know that it's heading somewhere.
If you want to really get to know the person, and if you want this to get serious, then I think you definitely should like make it a point to try to meet somewhere in the year. That also helps a lot to build the relationship. That keeps you going for the next few months again.
Exactly. Even though many people maybe find think you're crazy, because that was also kind of with us.
Yeah.
You know, like we just met each other like
Oh
actually
yeah.
3-4 days,
Yeah.
and then I think 3 months later or so,
Yeah.
you
I came
already decided to come
to
to
come
my
visit.
place.
Yeah, to come to your place. Yeah.
For 3 weeks, I think, even 2 or 3 weeks, something
Yeah.
like that, or
Yeah,
2
I
weeks
think
maybe.
2 weeks, like 15 days. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
something
like that.
Yeah. So, and a friend was saying like, "Are you sure? Like you have just met like this person 3-4 days, and then you're directly gonna invite him at your place for 15 full days? What if
Yeah.
it doesn't work out? What if you don't like each other?" But actually, like I think because of the video calls, and we were actually
Yeah, I mean,
kind of like
very
just so
comfortable about it.
easygoing,
Like it's almost like we got to know, because the amount of time we spent, the amount of communication we had, how clear, open, and talking about different things. Because we even spoke about many like general things, just about like our life perspectives, beliefs, philosophies, even all those topics kind of came up. So I think within 3 months or so, we actually got to know a lot about each other. So yeah, it wasn't really uncomfortable or scary, the thought of being together just after a
For
couple
such
of
a
months
time.
of knowing each other virtually, for the most part.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. So that's true. No, and as you said, like it's important to meet, and the trust part, building the trust, being clear with what you're doing when you're meeting. And I think a lot of people also look at that like it. You have to kind of look at it positively. Like you don't want it to be in such a way that it becomes demanding, that the other person demands to know what you do. It should come naturally. Where like
out of interest.
Out of interest, not like because I have to report to this person. That's not the perspective, but it's more like I want this person to know, because I'm actually looking forward to speak again or meet, see, whatever, through virtual means, whatever, social media,
I think
video
if that's
call.
not there, that it's like from your own interest.
Exactly.
Then there's already something.
Yeah, that's already
off.
kind of hitting a bit of a roadblock
in
the beginning. Yeah,
exactly.
red flag also.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. So yeah, and it's also good to, I think we were discussing about it maybe sometime earlier, like how it's good to kind of uh, uplift each other with like whatever your goals and things. If you're if you're having talks every day, you're probably also talking about what your life goals are. Maybe it can be short term, can be what you're going to do this week, maybe a month, a year later, whatever, this kind of thing. But like kind of show that interest and supportiveness. Maybe also sometimes maybe one person is feeling down a little bit, and you kind of show your support, try to speak, cheer the person up. Listen
to each other.
Listen to each other.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what do you think? What else? Kind of like, of course, this knowing in advance, like when you see each other again, or at least like a direction.
Yeah.
That's like a very important thing in a long distance relationship.
And
what else do you think? Like,
but adding to that, I just thought about it. Like also, maybe another point that we should clarify about like the meeting together, plans if you're have to travel quite a bit, is that you kind of need to strike an understanding between both the people in the relationship about what is realistically possible in terms of, because finance is a real thing, guys.
Exactly.
So how many times you can travel, how many times you can meet, besides your holidays and leaves, it's also how much you can spend. So you kind of have to be realistic with each other about like what your budget can be. Maybe one person can afford to spend a little more than the other. So, if you can and you want to really make the relationship work, then, you can do that. Or maybe the next time the other person can do a little more, depending on what your situation is. It really is, an understanding that both the partners need to develop. But you need to discuss that. You need to have that clear, because the more things you have clear, then your visit is really going to go smooth. Otherwise, there's going to be other problems. When you actually meet, it's not going to be the great, a great experience. And something that could have been good, because you're meeting maybe once in a couple of months. You don't want that to be, a trip that you couldn't really get the best out of each other because of, some other problems like this, just because it wasn't discussed in advance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because I think we were just like super fortunate because I just quit my job and to start for myself as a yoga teacher instructor, and you have your own business. So we are kind of lucky that we had the freedom to travel every 3 months or so towards each other, actually. But if you have a set job, then it's a little bit more challenging maybe for both sides. Like, despite also the financial part, but then the days off, or it's finding the balance in that also. And I think also when we saw each other in real life, when we did the visits, we also tried to really make the most out of it, in the sense of like, I also, when you came to the Netherlands, I also had my work going on. But when I came to India, you also had your work going on.
Correct. Yeah, we balance things out.
So we try to really
we
find
try to go. I think we have gone on holidays together when we met each other. But also, if we're meeting for a longer time, you may not always have like 2 weeks of holiday or something like that. So you have to balance out again the time with your partner and your work, and
but at least you get to spend the evenings together, and then during the day, like when the other person is working, you make the most out of it in your own visit, and you go and explore the country or whatever you want to do.
True. And what do you think about things like doing, I don't know, are there things that we did, anything special or surprising each other, or like while we were in a long distance thing? I don't know if we did something like that, but what do you think about?
Because I think both of us are not that romantic.
We're not, yeah, true. We're not so much about the.
We are both, I think, very simple.
But I mean, I think what we do is usually like we celebrate each other's successes, or or share each other's,
and just general support and like uplifting each other. What you just mentioned, also, I think that's very strong. And what we did, and it's just a small thing, but just like if you are working even, or just like sending a heart already, like through WhatsApp or so, like that you just let the other person know that you are thinking about that person. You don't have to say that much, but just like a small...
because maybe there's a time where actually it's not just a day or two. Maybe suddenly there's actually a very busy week.
Yes.
And then if you are used to actually looking forward to speaking with each other, and then 1 week it can be quite a bit troublesome on your mind. Like, what is this person? Where is he or she? What is he doing? Like, does he or she also feel like talking to me, or like is missing me as much as I am missing him or her? This kind of thing. Like, these things can creep into your mind, and then like you see one little message with a nice heart, and you feel so nice.
Yeah, exactly.
So
so those little things are also like, I think you need to be open to appreciate them, and you need to be putting the effort to like do these kind of things, in the sense of like that you really, of course, want it for yourself to do it. Like, it shouldn't be like, I have to do it kind of thing,
of course,
like just, like, okay, I want to let that other person know that I'm thinking about that person. Just like, be expressive about it. I think that's also a very important thing. Just like express yourself accordingly to what you are experiencing and feeling, I think.
And I think it's also good to learn, like, especially like now in our case, right? We're not only are we doing long distance, but then we have the intercultural background as well. So also,
that was the other episode.
No, I know that. But just touching upon like while you're in a long distance, like what you can do about, like, take the time to learn more about each other's cultures and backgrounds and things. And so when you do meet, then that's also like nice that you have a bit of perspective and maybe less of a culture shock in some cases.
You prepare each other kind of like for what is coming. True. Yeah, because the first time that I went to India, like, of course, after I met you during my travel, then I actually stayed, which is a big thing with your family. No, not for the family as well.
That's also true.
Without being
also
there
for
in India, to just stay with the family. And, to just stay there. And but it was very, I think, because you prepared me so much, it was a very like easy trip, I think, also. Yeah. So, and yeah, for me, there was only me in the house, so I didn't need to prepare you that much for the Netherlands because you were used to be in a Western country because you stayed abroad for such a long time. So,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. So what else? I don't know. I'm curious also how you all, for the ones that are in a long distance relationship, like how are you all like coping with it, and yeah, what are your go-to strategies to really connect and stay connected with each other?
True. And I
Yeah,
think
let us know. Yeah.
what I'd like to add is that I think one of the lessons that I learned, all right, is getting warmer.
Yeah, the sun is coming
The
out.
sun is coming out. Yeah. But one of the lessons kind of that I learned from the long distance thing is like, I mean, if you're able to do that, like it really says a little something about your relationship. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a successful relationship, but I mean, for every relationship, if you're able to navigate the challenges that come along the way, so like the distance is one challenge, and then there are little challenges that come with it. But if you're able to navigate those, I think it kind of already is putting your relationship to the test a bit. So if you clear that test, it already says a little bit about like where your relationship is, like what is the foundation or like the strength in your relationship, whether this can really be something, because it does take some time and effort from both the sides to make it work. So
yeah, and a lot of trust. Yeah.
And a lot of trust. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true.
So this kind of thing. So yeah, that was something that really with time, I think we understood that. I mean, if we can do this, then like
you can conquer everything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. For the most part, yeah. Because many times I know that, maybe when you start living together, there might then you learn even some more things that you didn't know from the person maybe. True. But at least like if you do your groundwork before with most of like the person, like how their personality is, then of course you can cross check if that's really what it is when you meet. But at least it gives you something to work on, like some background, some information. Yeah, but I think what we did also is like tapping onto like a lot of topics already beforehand. Yeah. Like, and dive deep into that. Like, okay, how do you think about this? What are your views about this? Yeah, true. I think because we went in such a depth with all these topics, we kind of already knew a lot of times what to expect. Yeah. From each other, from our surroundings, and our way of living. Yeah. True. Yeah. So I think, these are really some of the things that we thought about how it is for long distance relationships and some ways in which you can make it work. I know it worked for us, and I hope for all of you out there together. Yeah, so far so good, guys. We're married. We have a beautiful son who's going to be 4 soon. So yeah, I hope for all of you other couples out there who are in any kind of long distance relationship, be it within the same country or across borders, that this was helpful for all of you and that you can also make it work. We wish you all the best. And yeah, if you have any questions based on our experiences, or any just in general something you would like to share, something you'd like to ask, please feel free write to us in the comments down below on our YouTube video, or you can also as I said, follow us on Instagram and check out our content there. Send us a message, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you the next time then. See you the next time. Bye bye.